Okay, we are live, and good morning, good evening to those of you who are over in North America. We're going to talk about the idiots running the show in this live stream. And as always, if you're hearing some strange noises, that's just one of the dogs right over here. um, and let's just give it a few seconds so that people can join. Um, it is a topic that I have touched upon before. Excuse me while I'm tidying my desk here a little bit. I'm getting my glasses. We have talked about this somewhat, but I've kind of made some mental notes, and also a few people have reached out to me and given me some information. Of course, when people do that, I absolutely appreciate that, but most of the times it's difficult for me to fact check that information. But this is kind of anecdotal, so I'll use it. Um, yeah. Okay. Let's see. People are joining. That is wonderful. Um, and let's see here. Okay, people are quite opinionated on this already. Um, okay, the title of this is perfect, and hello, hope all is well, says Raven JJ. And there are people here from California and from Norway. I'm from Norway, by the way, hence my accent. Okay. I think that part of the reason why we are having some problems in the world today is because a lot of idiots are making decisions. Um, and why am I saying that? Well, because I'm pretty sure that is the case. I thought I would rather phrase it as uncultured, uneducated, unread. But that's not really the case. Because, okay, I'll try to explain by using an example, which I often do. Okay. Um, we are using a social media platform now. This case, that's YouTube. We could say a lot about YouTube. Let's leave that for another day. Let's just say, I will only say that they've made a few decisions that are seem to be based on seem to be quite foolish. Okay. And what I have noticed, what I have suspected, and I have had some dealings with the people behind this platform, and I have also gotten a few emails and messages. Um, it's run by idiots. I probably shouldn't say that so early in a live stream, but it's they don't really have a culture. They don't know, like, this rumor that they are shadow banning videos where you talk about the Nordic runes, or what people like to call Viking runes, um, because they don't know any better. These people, they might have an education in their field, which is, I don't know, tech something. I don't know. Um, but it's like that's it, and it's a very narrow thing. That's the problem with people. Some people with an higher education, they will specialize in that, and they stop absorbing information about other things in life. And also, I will say this. First of all, I will say that as a novelist, I have had the pleasure of working with educated, well-read, and very professional people for decades. Um, but I'm also seeing that there are people now who are lacking when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to culture, and when it comes to experience. Uh, idiots, I wrote idiots. Idiots are running the show in the title. That's not really, it's what's an idiot, that's you know what I mean. And I think that we tend to think about like politicians and CEOs in big tech companies and things like that as bright people. And here's the thing, I don't think that they are. I don't think they are that bright. And that is one of the reasons why when people say it's all designed, it's all according to design, what's the term, all by design, things happening in the world today. I don't think so, because I don't think these people are that bright. I don't think they could pull it off. Are there people out there who want to do that? Yes, certainly. Um, and and why are they in that position? Well, that's easy. Tribalism. They protect their own kind. That's why you will see the following: ideology instead of intelligence. So I'm not an ideologue. There's another guy who said that about himself some time ago, Jordan Peterson. That was before he became one and started crying on camera and all that. Um, I I have values, but I'm not an ideologue. What that means is that I believe we should choose wisely. We should do what's right. We should solve the problem. That should be the main objective. The main objective should not be to follow a religion, political ideology, and so on. Let that be up to the individual. Let's say you have unemployment. Well, we know basically how to fix that, actually. Some of the answers are not so popular, especially among people politically leaning to the left. Um, but we know how to fix it, so let's fix it. Okay. The environment, we basically know how to fix that. But ideology comes in the way of the solution. So let's throw away the ideology. I think we all agree that we want a clean environment. Well, we can do that. We can do that. But the solutions are highly politically incorrect. And no, I won't even get into what it is, but um, and unpopular. And that's why you're not really seeing those solutions being um, put into action. So again, I think that we need to kind of my message here in this little monologue here is that don't okay, first I will say that there are a lot of people who despise those who took higher education. Now, please, and this is also unpopular. Statistically speaking, people with a master's degree have a higher IQ than the average population. Okay. You might not like that. Okay. I don't have a master's, but this is a fact. And just that because you don't like it doesn't make it untrue. Now, having said that, there are a lot of bright idiots out there, if you know what I mean, limited in their way of thinking. But we need to stop thinking about people in positions of power as being very, very intelligent. That's not usually the case. And if you look at actually a lot of the people making decisions now, they don't have higher education. Now we tend to think that they do, but very often they don't. Should they have that? Well, I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe. Um, but if we look at, for instance, here in Norway, the politicians here in the government, they are largely uneducated. Um, and yeah, it kind of frustrates me when I hear they talk about, protecting wildlife, for instance, and we have this bastard who's sitting there and is laughing at these scientists who actually know what they're talking about, and he just wants to get rid of all the wolves and the bears and just put concrete over the entire country or something like that. So that frustrates me because he's a fucking idiot, and he should be humble. But they don't know what that is, these people. Okay. So I am kind of hesitant now concerning looking at the chat because there will be probably a lot of comments here uh, saying things like education doesn't matter, don't go to university, and so on and so on. And I think what if you're writing that, you're getting things, you're a little bit confused here, I think, because you are seeing when you're thinking about higher education, you're seeing the crazy people with blue hair and all the rings in their noses and stuff like that, shrieking in the streets and taking gender studies, and well, can we just agree that's just a bad joke? Okay, those people, and I'm not talking about those people now. I am talking about those people who study literature, um, technology, biology, who study to become that doctor who will fix your leg when you break it, and so on. And we need people who can do that. But okay, let's see what is going on in the chat. Okay. And I think a lot of people are from the USA, Canada now, and I think things are a little bit crazy over there. Steve says they teach BS. Well, they don't if you want to become a doctor, like a physician. Um, that's a real thing, you know. So I'm talking classical education. Yes, of course I am. But most of the education in university is that. Okay. All good for you, cuddle bugs. We didn't really need that information, but okay. Um, so Steve says real life education, hunting, fishing, growing, building. Absolutely. That's you, but why not get both, right? Um, so Eddie Hazard says Bjorn army. Well, that would be that would be fun. um, Now, again, text Brad Strung Out says textiles, gender studies, social sciences, money for nothing when you think about it. Yeah, I agree. Um, but it's like, as I said, I'm not really talking about that, and maybe now I believe in free choice, but also, maybe universities should prioritize things that matter. And well, I think some people should study gender studies to some degree, if it's done in a kind of different way than what I suspect they're doing now. But if that is a large field, not if lots of people are doing that, then you have to direct things into other fields. This it because we don't really need a lot of people who specialize in that, um, for obvious reasons. Okay, so um, yeah, okay, cuddle bugs. I get your point there, but it's like it's kind of the uniform we're talking about, that they try to look like that, and that's the uniform that they have, the woke people, the woke mob. Okay. Um, yeah. So again, my main message here is, don't view these people as very bright, because I don't think they are. And also, here's another thing. They write books. um, it's like we have. Yeah, I'll just say what I wanted to say here first. They have books written, you know, shadow shadow authors, shadow writers. Uh, these people normally don't write books themselves. Okay, so please take that into consideration. I'll give you a hilarious example. So we have a king in Norway, sadly, and because we have the monarchy here, we didn't get rid of our monarchy, which you wisely did over in the USA and Canada. Um, but the king is very old, and because of natural reasons, he will be dead in a few years, most likely. So they've made this book now about his son, and it's like this obvious propaganda piece, um, and it's getting like, the highest rating that you can give a book in almost all the newspapers and so on. And someone wrote that there is nothing critical at all about the prince in that book. And I don't think that there are people like that in existence, who are so perfect and so wise. So, I mean, this is propaganda. And they have admitted that the prince has not written all of it. He's just contributed with some wise sections here and there. But this is propaganda, right? Because they're prepping the population here in Norway to have a positive view of the new king. He will be king soon, you know. And we see other examples all of the time. Um, and it's, for me as an author, it's a very sad thing, because I like literature. I like real books, not fake books. And I won't even get into the AI shit that we are seeing now. But I like literature. I like culture. I think it's important. It's about our roots. Um, so yeah. Okay. Not. I'm going to keep this one a little bit short. Um, and okay, let's see here. Hmm. Mrs. Serpo says, "I want real books, paper books." Yeah, I agree. I agree. So, I get, well, all nine parsec. Well, I get Viking, and then I can't really finish that even. But yeah, that's what they used to do. That was kind of a thing here. They got rid of the king. Okay. Um, yeah. Now, I'm just going to scroll down here. Yeah, well, here's another one. Lawyers. I happen to know a little bit about lawyers. No, sounded like I was like a criminal who's been in the legal system for years. No, no, that's not why. But that's a kind of people that seems to think very highly of themselves, and they are often completely uncultured, and they think that since they have this, they've taken the lawyer education, they are, the best, the best people out there. Um, and I had to read some law when I studied, and it was like already then I was actually writing on my one of my books. I started early, uh, and it was such a pain to write to I mean to read their books, these lawyers, because it was so poorly written. Very little understanding of rhythm and words, and the meaning of words. So yeah, that's another other one. And yeah, I mentioned politicians already, but um, the thing with these politicians is that, okay, so I know I have kind of specialized in some fields of knowledge, right? And so have you guys. And when we listen to these politicians, and if they start talking about, and have you noticed this, if they start talking about something within your field of knowledge, it takes only seconds usually before you catch them in saying something that is incorrect. And then I start thinking, if it's like that, well, are they as incorrect about everything they're talking about? And I suspect that they might be, which is kind of a scary thought, because it means that they are making decisions based on a lack of knowledge, wrong knowledge, misinformation, and they're spreading misinformation out into the public, which we have seen, which we have seen. Arrogant fools. Yeah, I agree. GovCorp watch, absolutely. Uh, yeah, Steve says legal, sorry, legal jargon, make believe language. Yeah, they make up words as well. I have noticed. Um, Torun says paper books are more powerful than the internet. They don't crash, and you cannot hack them. Absolutely. Yeah, Gavin Newsom. He's a slick little person, I have noticed. So, Brandon, yes, it should be illegal, says Brandon, for politicians to profit from their office. Absolutely. Um, absolutely. So, yeah, well, everyone should read 1984 and Brave New World. Absolutely. Yeah. So, um, Animal Farm also. Animal Farm, that's a good one. Absolutely. It's Animal Farm is never mentioned by people on the left. They don't want to hear about it, that book. Isn't that funny? And I should say that things being as they are, left, right, it's almost like it doesn't matter anymore because these people, they just want to have the power and to have people acting as peasants, serfs under them in a different and lower class. Um, yeah, well, okay, this is interesting. Pisces Straits Rule 373 says new RABI YouTube creators are also in the top suggestions. Is that like that religion with the small hats? Those people? Because I'm getting spammed with these fundamentalist Christian YouTube channels thing here. That's part of the reason why I don't really watch YouTube so much anymore. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I do get some of those, but mostly the fundamentalist Christian ones, which is funny because I haven't talked about that and I've never clicked on those videos. Seems to be YouTube seem to be pushing that a lot, which is ironic because they they are all complaining. Well, you know, not I wouldn't know about those channels, but many people are complaining. The prepper channels that oh they're suppressing our religion, and no, I don't think they are. Um, Hold the hidden hammer high says the left-right paradigm is a smokescreen. Uh, Steve says a lot of people get a degree then stop learning. That's a good point, Steve. It's like it should be a continuous process. And I I would be such an ignorant fool if I had stopped learning after I went out of university. You know, can you imagine so many years ago? Um, so Adrian says, what restrictions are you facing on platforms currently other than shadow banning, demonetization? Well, a lot. Um, they have removed some videos and live streams, and they are, if we're talking about this platform, um, they are constantly updating um, their terms of service, whatever it's called. And interestingly, now they have opened for more sexual content on YouTube. So I think we can all see where this is going. It's quite desperate, right? Uh, it's um, it's like it's almost like you want to stay here just to see the crash, just to see them crash and burn. um, so Knight Percival says, "Can you get demonetized for a reply you make in the comment section?" I honestly don't know. I don't know. Janet is asking, they do not seem to have issues with what you do. Me, you mean? They do have issues with that. Um, so, uh, yeah, it's interesting that they and I wasn't going to talk about this, but I saw this in the news here in Norway, that YouTube, one of the biggest things on YouTube now apparently, and thankfully I have not gotten any suggestions for that channel, but it's apparently this channel where two people from the porn industry are running this show, and then they get people to join them over, or they win a competition or something to join them at this only fans thing. um, and it's like they're threatening to kick me out of here because of my content, and that's okay apparently. Okay, so that's okay. I think, uh, just my I'm not a prude at all. But I will say that if we're going to talk about ethics, I would say that maybe it's more problematic to promote the porn industry like they're doing, apparently. That's more problematic than what, for instance, people like me are doing here. We are talking about current issues and questioning certain narratives. But what do I know? Maybe, yeah. So it's like, well, you're a bad boy saying that, but promoting porn industry, that's fine. Go ahead. So yeah, good to know, YouTube. At least you're being honest now about where things are heading. So um, the cost of university tuition in Norway, well, it depends on how long it is, and I think uh, what the thing that is the most expensive part of it is that you can't really work much during those years, and you will have to pay rent, or buy a place to live near the university, and that's typically in the cities, so it will be very expensive. Um, so okay. Uh, Now I honestly, yeah, okay, I don't know anything about the porn industry. I don't know. How would I know? It's but it's kind of it seems a little bit questionable that that should be okay, while so many other things are not okay on YouTube. Okay, just my thoughts on that. Okay. Um, so Okay. Yeah. Okay. Peace. Is that French? That's Pisk traits rule 373. Who is the anti Santa Claus? Just kidding. Those videos are also top suggestions. Yeah, that's why I didn't even want to say that word, because then I fear they will push those videos again. And it's the usual list of suspects then there. um, okay, Raven JJ is saying, I wish to know more about runes and real Norwegian history before Christians took it over. They are my ancestors, but I know so little recommendations on what to read. Um, that is very that's a good question. Now, if you read the Edda, you probably know that it was written by someone who either was a Christian or who had to be a Christian, because he couldn't. Snorre, in his society there, he couldn't not be a Christian. Then that would be very dangerous for him. So it's made into this odd construction at the start there, where he kind of gets the creation myth and everything inserted into, that was one of the human bloodlines, or some of them, after the Great Flood. So that's how he made managed to tell those stories without getting persecuted in his time by uh, by the church, probably. So that's one thing that you need to kind of think about. And I would say that if you go to rune carvings, and also, well, rune stones, rune staves, rune carvings of different kinds before Christianity in Scandinavia, you will get a glimpse into that. Also the Edda, as I mentioned. But also, I would look into the migration period. And we know less about that period of time, but it is interesting because it led to then, the pre-Christian Viking age, if you will. Okay. Patricia is asking if Norwegian runes are similar to Irish, Celtic, Ogham language. No, it's different. So people sometimes they send me questions. Can you write this in runes for me? And uh, there are many rune quote unquote alphabets, uh, depending on time period and geographical area. They would be different, and quite different actually. Um, so it depends, it's this will probably ruin the day for some people, but you know, some people go and get Viking rune tattoos, and from what I've seen, those runes are not Viking runes. Sorry, they're elder Futhark runes, and the Vikings didn't use those. They used the younger Futhark. So, um, so yeah, sorry. Um, well, the younger Futhark, all Scandinavia used its effect, yes, but they were slightly different actually, depending on geographical area. So they would be different in Denmark and Norway, for instance. No, I don't have any tattoos. Which language is closest to Old Norse? I would say Icelandic. Icelandic is Old Norse being developed in a natural, organic way for like 1,000 years. Um, so that's the closest you get, I think. What is this one? Mike, that's interesting. What's your opinion on children being taught by robots in schools due to shortage of teachers? Are they? Really? I don't think that's a good idea. Uh, that's not a Viking eagle behind me. It's a raven. It's a raven flag. Okay, so Robert is asking if you were to take Norway and stand it up on its southernmost point and allow it to fall forward, like down, where would the northernmost point land? I think Rome, actually. Okay. Um, yeah, it's a raven. That's a traditional war flag. um, so yeah, it would be a banner. It would be a raven banner, um, traditionally. And if you go to Grimfrost, good people there over at Grimfrost, you can buy a raven banner. That's the red one with the black raven on it. Um, and this one is stitched like it's not a print. Um, so yeah, I like ravens. Yeah, the raven banner is probably connected to Odin's ravens, Hugin and Munin. Um, so that's why I don't have tattoos. Well, why would I have tattoos? I don't see the point. Um, I don't care if you. I mean, that's up to me, isn't it? So, um, yeah. Okay. Now, when it comes to the Raven banner, we don't really know how it originated. There's a Raven banner on one of the spears in the what's the name? The tapestry. Oh, it's early. What's the name of the tapestry? The long, long tapestry. Very famous. Battle of Hastings, I think. And am I messing things up here? But Bayeux. No, what's well, Bayeux tapestry. Yes, there's a spear with a raven banner on it. It looks like a pigeon, but it's a raven banner. It's supposed to be a raven banner, and it's a war flag. um, okay. How many books I've written so far? Well, is it 21, 22? I can't remember right now. Uh, yeah. So, so the raven is highly important in the Norse belief system. Of course, you have Hugin and Munin, which symbolizes uh, memory and mind, or passion or will and mind, and they fly out uh, and bring back to Odin, whisper in his ears in the night, at night, and what in the evening. I mean, what they've seen, um, and you have also, of course, the significance of ravens as being connected to battle and death. And that probably originated from the fact that ravens will gather where there are corpses, right? And because they eat dead animals. So, um, because of that, there are other, let's just for simplicity here, call them myths concerning ravens that I will not get into at this point. Um, Yeah, there is also in the sagas this story where a raven was released, and if it didn't come back, what's his name? Maybe you know, maybe you remember. If it didn't come back, it meant that there was land nearby. So, um, yeah, and they're very intelligent animals, absolutely. Was that Noah's Ark? uh, it's in the sagas. So, and there was a guy who it's in his name, so he probably was known for using ravens. Um, yeah. Now these stories are very old, you know. Um, okay. Andrew, thanks a lot for that awesome donation. That's very kind of you. That is very kind of you. Um, I mean, well, we can go back in time concerning our perceptions of these. Well, for instance, ravens, um, and there isn't really a like a separation between the Viking Age and migration period. Um, that was a gradual. Um, it was progression. Is that word? Um, and it was not like people in the Viking Age. They were sat down. Okay, we live in the Viking Age now. But we do know that the Roman era, the Roman dynasty, and the culture, more importantly, the culture was hugely influential um, on the entire European continent. It inspired, for instance, we talked about the runes. It inspired the runes, and it yeah, it was very influential on what came after that. So, okay, we need to remember that the Roman army, it when they were in Germania, I'm pretty sure that. Well, now it sounds like I have figured this out on my own. I haven't. Historians and archaeologists are pretty much in agreement on this, that uh, predominantly the soldiers and many of the officers were not from what is now Italy. They were tribesmen themselves in from Germania. Um, so they would have kept their knowledge and that influence that they gained through that time, through generations, and after the fall of the Roman Empire, they would have kept that um, in their culture and in their way of life, and that in again then led to how they influenced other cultures, like the Scandinavian culture. Okay. So yes, exactly. That's FFKK or F. Yeah, you're saying that Rome didn't have enough soldiers to keep all its lands. Yeah, and they would also take advantage of conflicts and disagreements between the tribes. Um, Divide and conquer. Um, so okay, yeah, it is interesting, and um, of course, when we look at the Roman Empire, it was very brutal, uh, and it is as with how Christianity. We need to take that away and take it out of the stories, right? When we talk about the Vikings, the same we need to do with uh, European history when the Roman Empire was dominant, because they would write down things in such a way that it made for instance, the Germanic tribes and the Celts look bad, and their culture, it would make their culture look bad, while they would highlight all the positive things and about the Roman culture, right? Um, so those were the barbarians, and the Romans were the civilized. That was, of course, not how it was. Um, Berserker Gang 2019, are you here? Are you here? You're being mentioned here, so I think you are here. Uh, Green-eyed lady, I must admit I don't know much about the Scythians. Sorry, so I won't try to get into that. Well, God's Marine 70, thanks a lot for saying that. Hei, Hayden. Flott å møte deg også. Well, thank you for practicing some Norwegian. Okay. Have they published my books in Spanish? Okay. I'm going to have to call my agent because that's new to me. Okay. Yeah, I can't say so much about that. Actually, I have to go now and I have to sort that out. Okay. We'll talk soon. Okay, bye.